Right then. Hello everyone. How's everybody doing? Nice to see you all. Great to see you guys all on the screen. I hope everybody is doing well. How many are we today?
I've got a total of 18 in so far, and we've already got questions and stuff coming in.
Okay. Well, that's good. Now today, if you have this book, A Sage's Fruit, this is volume 2. Okay, if you have this book, great. We're going to read a little bit from page 107. Okay, Sage's Fruit, volume 2. There are 2 books called The Sage's Fruit. One of them is the letters. The other ones are Bala Salam's articles in there. And we're going to read from the article, Thou hast hemmed me in behind and before. However, we're not going to touch that just yet. So just bear in mind, if you do have the book, great. 107 is going to be the page, so put a pencil there or something, a piece of paper. Now today, first of all, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys remember what we talked about last week? About the parts of the soul? Yeah, how come nobody's got their cameras on today? Is it everybody's left their Zoom on and gone for a drink or something? Oh, there we go. Slowly but surely. What
Beautiful smiling faces.
Tuesday isn't pub night out, is it? No?
Like $2 Tuesdays or something like that?
I know. Well, if we were in Australia, it'd be Tight Butt Tuesday for the movies. But yeah, okay, so we're back in action. So we've got a few friends there. Okay, great. So let me ask you guys a question. Well, I will just go over it again. Do you guys remember what we studied last week? Right, about the structure of the soul. Okay, it's important, okay, because I'm asking, the reason it's important is today we're going to carry on. Okay, and we're going to touch a few points regarding that issue because the structure of the soul is very important, and the reason we related it to our lives here last week is so that today, well this week, what we're going to do is we're going to look at how that came from spirituality. So we're going to look at the roots this week, and we had a look at the branches last week. So last week we said, let me just go over it quickly. Okay, we said that the structure of the soul is like this. Okay, normally I draw it like a vessel like this, but you shouldn't get confused. It's the same thing, all right? So right now this is our vessel and we're desired to receive, okay? And that's fine. So this equals that. So there's nothing different. I've just drawn it differently. And we said that the structure of the soul is such that there's a part called Galgalta Einaim, and there's a part called Achap. Okay, and we said Galgalta Einaim is more, let's say, purer desires. Purer desires. They're more compatible, easier compatible to spirituality, and our Achap desires are coarser desires. You know, they're the big guns. They're the real desires that you get a lot of pleasure from, and it's very hard to kind of keep your sanity in check. Okay, sometimes you have such a desire, and when you fulfill it, you have this in this world as well. Sometimes when we really, really want something and we get it, we're so overwhelmed with joy that we literally just lose our mind over it. Okay, you guys must have had a few things like that in life when you really wanted something and you got it and you just went nuts about it. Okay, that's when you lose your mind over something, and those desires are very strong. So those kind of desires a person doesn't have a leash on. Okay, so this is like unleashed dragon. Let's say it's like an unleashed dragon desires, and these are more pure desires. You got you got the leashes on, you can handle those desires, and they're nice and easy going. All right, they're closer to spirituality. You can use them, bring them to spirituality easier. And we said that there are, and now that's the structure of the soul, and this is called a partsuf. Okay. In spirituality, it's called a partsuf, and in spirituality, it's called a partsuf if you can bestow back to the Creator. And this part is called the guf. Guf means body. Obviously, we're not talking about our protein body. Okay, our body is the desire to receive. Okay, that's called a body. Our corporeal body is irrelevant in terms of spirituality. That's why it dies off. It's not really so important. Okay, and this part of the parts of is called the Rosh. Rosh means head. So when I have my head screwed on and I can control all my desires and I can bestow with them to the Creator, that's called a partsuf, a spiritual being that can bestow to the Creator. However, in our world, we talked about last week, we also said that this is the structure of the soul and this is just levels of our desires. Now, where's all that coming from? This week we're going to take a look at all that, and it's all coming from spirituality. And it's all coming from how we were first created by the Creator. Now, the Creator wanted to create such a creature that He could give that creature everything. The Creator wanted to create a creature that He could bestow endlessly all the pleasures that He had, and that first initial state of Him wanting to bestow is called the root state. Sometimes we call it the zero state. And the Creator wanting to fill us all with endless pleasure is called the first state. And from this first state, everything actually developed. In fact, everything developed from just a black dot right there. And the Creator decided to create a creature where He could give everything and make this creature really fulfilled with everything. And as this process began, this desire to receive began to feel its relationship with the Creator. Desire to receive began to feel the Creator, because if somebody is giving me something, obviously we're going to have to connect somehow, right? If I'm giving you a present, obviously there's going to be a connection. So the Creator creating this desire to receive and then fulfilling it with pleasure begins to reveal inside this desire to receive the sensation that something or someone is fulfilling it. It's like a baby. Okay, imagine a newborn baby in the mother's arms, and she is feeding the baby, right? So the baby is not quite aware that this person is mum yet, okay, because her mind or his mind is not there yet. It's just a newborn baby. However, the baby is feeling that it's getting fed, it's getting looked after, taken care of. So that sensation, imagine it like that. So once that sensation is completed, then another sensation comes to the desire to receive. That if somebody is fulfilling me, I would like to reciprocate. It's like having a counter connection. It's like somebody holding their hand out to shake your hand, and you want to shake theirs as well. So we want to have that reciprocity. And that phase is called the second phase. Where the desire to receive would like to reciprocate to the Creator. However, we have a bit of a drama. And what is that drama? Can you guys remember? Well, the desire to receive doesn't have anything to give to the Creator. What can a little baby give? Nothing. But then it comes with a bright idea. It understands that the Creator wants to fulfill him because he feels that there's this sensation of love that is passed on with this attribute of bestowal. Then the desire to receive says, wait a minute, the Creator would love to give me everything because he loves me. That's great. So I can receive everything if he wants to give, but I'll receive it just to make him happy. Okay, it's like my mum cooked something and it's not quite my favorite food. Okay, but I love mum. So I love to eat it with a big smile on my face and receive everything because I know it's going to make her happy. So my mind is not on the food, but my mind is on making mum happy. Okay, obviously mum always cooks the best food ever, but I'm just trying to relate to it in such a way that here the relationship is that I'd like to receive what the Creator wants to give me, but what I receive isn't so important. I'm only receiving it because I'd like to make Him happy because He's gone to all that trouble for me. And this brings us to the fourth state, which is actually the real created being. Up to here, right? Up to here, this was all the development of the desire to receive. It's just a development. But the real desire to receive starts in the fourth phase. Because now the created being has sensed what it's like to receive what the Creator gave and has to offer. Plus, I get this big buzz from bestowing back because I feel like I'm like the Creator. So it's like double the bonus. I get whatever He wants to give, plus I get to become like Him. Okay. Isn't that great? I get everything. This inside the desire to receive brings out a new sensation. It says, and he thinks to himself, wait a minute, the Creator wants to give me everything anyway. That's great. Thank you very much. So I'll take all that, thank you. Plus, I'll also take your throne, thank you very much, and I'll do all the bestowing if you don't mind. Okay, it's like a backstabbing prince. Okay, behind his dad, he's like taking the throne out from under him. The reason for that is this. It has to happen this way. The reason is the desire to receive must come to such a state that he wants everything that the Creator has to offer, including his ability to bestow. So if you give a corporeal example, I want all of my dad's treasury, all of the lands and the kingdom, plus, even though he is the king, I'd like to take the throne too, and you have a good retirement kind of thing. That's the real malkut. Okay, that's the real desire to receive. This is the created being. Oops, let me write that a little thinner. This is the created being. Creature, let's call it. The real desire to receive, the real McCoy. Okay? This is how the desire to receive developed in 4 phases. Root plus 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you can call it 5, but we like to call it 4 because the root is the Creator. So the desire to receive developed in 4 phases. Now, once this desire to receive developed, going through all these phases, it also created within itself, remember, the whole of reality is inside of us, right? Inside our feelings and sensations. So this desire to receive went about going through these transformations, and inside itself, it began to develop according to the desires that was in it. Now, we all have in this world, what do we have? Total of what? 5 desires or 6? Food, family, sex, money, honor, knowledge, right? We've got 6 desires in this world. That's it. That limited. Okay? It's crazy. That's all we have. But in spirituality, it's not like that at all. In spirituality, you have a lot of desires. In fact, 620 of them. Okay, so 620, we wouldn't know what to do with 620 desires. But in spirituality, apparently there's something we're going to be doing with them. So there's 620 desires, and all of those desires that we have in spirituality are all being developed in these phases here until all of it comes to a maturing point at level 4, where we call the creature. Now the creature has a dilemma now, because it wants everything that the Creator wanted to give, has all the treasury and the throne and everything, but having wanted and taken all that, it feels shame. Okay, it feels bad about itself. Have you guys felt bad about yourselves? When you've taken something, you thought afterwards, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Maybe once or twice.
Yeah, okay. So if you had, if you did something like that, naughty, you would have felt, oh God, I wish I didn't do that, okay? So that he feels shame. Now shame is a spiritual concept, doesn't really have much to do with the shame we have here in our world, because we're only, we only feel shame here if somebody catches us, okay? If we get away with it, we're like thinking, oh, I'm so smart, okay? But if somebody catches us, oh, we feel bad. So it's not the same shame we're talking about. The shame here is that the created being here, the creature, and the Creator are like face to face, and the creature feels really bad due to the oppositeness they have. Because all of a sudden now, throughout all the phases here that I've highlighted here, the created being understands that the nature of the Creator is love and bestowal, and the creature is just pure reception, just pure me, me, me. Imagine having a friend around you and all they were thinking about was me, me, me all day. Okay? You'd feel quite drained after a few minutes. So that's how that realization feels. So he feels shame. Okay? And accordingly, he does an action called restriction. It's called the first restriction. And the creature decides not to receive anything from the Creator. He says, I'm not receiving anything from you, thank you very much. Even though you love me and want to give me everything, because we're so opposite, I just feel disgusted with myself. So why don't you have a nice day and I'll have a nice day. You go your way and I'll go my way. That's called the first restriction, where I don't want to get in touch with you because being in touch with you is making me feel bad, even though the Creator is all good. Okay? So that feeling of shame is self-disgust that the creature is feeling. However, going through that situation as well, he comes to an understanding all of a sudden. He says, wait a minute, I've been through all these states only to understand that the Creator wants to give me everything, and all I have to do is receive it, but I have to do it in a decent way. I have to have some manners about it. Right? I can't be just rude and vulgar and grab everything. I need to have this mutual relationship which is somehow close, so that we can build this relationship between us and come to the purpose of creation, which is to receive everything. Because if now I tell the Creator, listen, I don't want to take anything from you because I feel bad, it defeats the whole purpose of creation. It's like short-wiring yourself, short-circuiting yourself. Because the purpose of creation is to receive everything from the Creator. And if I tell the Creator, listen, I don't want anything from you, you have a great day, all the best. That's like, well, we're never going to get to the purpose of creation then, are we? Right? We can't. Does that make sense? Yeah? A person needs to come to that understanding that the purpose of creation is to receive everything from the Creator. But there's a trick to receiving. How am I going to get what He wants to give me without short-circuiting myself, without feeling bad about myself, without feeling lower than the Creator. Okay? Because I don't want to feel like a lowly creature when I'm receiving. I want to make sure I'm equal to Him. So then starts the thought process, and that's called, what am I going to do? Well, we like to call it calculations. Anybody good with maths? Nobody? That's great, because we're not going to do any. Okay, calculation is just a term we use, okay, to talk about how much I can receive from the Creator and why it has to be in a certain limited way. All right, so don't panic if you're not good with maths. So the created being now decides how much to receive, what to receive, begins to calculate that thing. This process is called building the worlds. All right, sometimes you might have read in the books, people talk about spiritual worlds. A spiritual world in the wisdom of Kabbalah is a state where I feel equivalence of form with the Creator. That's called the spiritual world. If I don't have that equivalence of form with the Creator, I'm here, He's there, and we've got no connection at all. So spirituality means, in the wisdom of Kabbalah, a minimal contact point where I am like Him, at least at the minimum level, so I can sense Him, I can feel Him, and I can feel His relationship to me, so I can make from that relationship an informed decision and make a proper reciprocating action. Okay, are you guys with me so far? Okay, because if I don't know anybody, I can't give them a present, right? But if I just met somebody today, I at least have the minimum contact with that person, even though I just met them now. So, I can say, I just met this person. Oh, she looks like she likes coffee. I might just buy her a cup of coffee. Okay, it's the minimum point of contact that you can just have. That's called the equivalence of form. Now, the building of the whole of this structure called the spiritual worlds is called building our connection with the Creator. And all of that is based on this mutual action of receiving and giving back to the Creator. And the measures of those actions, the depth of those actions, are called spiritual worlds. And they are all inside this same desire to receive. Remember guys, from first semester, the whole of reality is where? In us. Okay? So we're always talking about, when we're talking about the worlds, when we're talking about feeling the Creator, when we're talking about our desires and the interaction via those desires with the Creator, we're all talking about things that are happening inside a person. And there is nothing that's happening on the outside of the person. This process brings us to build the worlds. And I'll just draw it here nice and okay, just bear with me. From here to here. And these worlds have names. I think we've done them before, right? Adam Kadmon. Oops. So we have the worlds. Let me just write worlds here. We have the worlds of Adam Kadmon. We have the world of Atzilut. We have the world of Bria, Yetzirah, Asiya. And below that level is where we are. Okay? Completely detached from spirituality. These are the 5 worlds. And these 5 worlds actually are a template. And this template comes from the initial state where we went from this root state to being completed as a creature, completely fulfilled with everything. So everything in reality has this template. And this is what, in our previous lesson, I tried to explain about our structure as well, about the structure of the soul. The same thing, that same template, comes from how we were all created initially by the Creator through the 4 phases of direct light, which is this process. And thus, henceforth, all of these worlds represent the root state, the first state, the second state, the third state, and the fourth state. Just like here, okay? 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All corresponding to the initial template of creation. And thus, henceforth, once again, all of our desires are composed of this structure. In every desire that we have this structure, and this structure also exists in us in a whole as well. So, for example, who's with us today?
We've got Steffi from Romania.
Okay, so we've got Steffi from Romania. So this is, let's say this is Steffi's desire to receive, right? Steffi. All right. And inside, this is the whole of Steffi. And inside Steffi, there's a lot of other desires. And all of these desires also have in them these levels, okay, in every desire. It's like a hologram. Is it a hologram? What's that picture where you look at the picture and it's one whole picture and you tilt it a little bit and then you see small pictures of the same thing? What is it, a hologram or what? Something like that. Okay. So those are Steffi's desires, but Steffi also has the whole of Steffi. Okay, so she's got desires. And in reality, in the perception of reality, they also correspond to, guess what? The still level of our desires, the vegetative level of our desires, the animate level, the speaking level. And this is why we see the whole of reality outside of us at the still, vegetative, animate, and speaking level. But everything is in fact happening and is being experienced inside Steffi. Not outside of her, but inside Steffi. Why? Because our whole life consists only of experienced emotions which are accompanied by understanding or the lack of it. Does that make sense? Right? We learned the perception of reality right in the first semester, which is going a little deeper. Okay? So in every feeling, in every desire that I have a feeling, which is the fulfillment of the desire. And then I have an understanding about the fulfillment of the desire. If the understanding and the fulfillment is related to the Creator and I have a sensation of that, it means I'm in spirituality. If not, if I'm just feeling pleasure and understanding about the pleasure that without the Creator, or the lack of pleasure, I'm stuck in this world. Okay, and we all know where this world is going. Right, where's that going, Anthony? It's going to, they call it rest in peace.
The good old tombstone.
Okay, because that's our body. So what we have to do is a very easy job. It's called attaining the Creator. And for that we have a dot in the heart. So while this guy goes there, we want this guy going up. Now the whole trick is, going up while this guy is still alive. Okay? That's the whole trick. And that's called studying the wisdom of Kabbalah. Now, you're going to ask, well, what's this got to do with me, with my soul and the structure of my soul? Well, it's very easy. The whole idea is here. Let's go on to a new page. Now, are we all good with Steffi? Right? We all understood Steffi, right? And we all understood the created being as a one big created being. Yeah? Yes, please tell me yes. Okay, so if not, you should ask questions. All right, because we're talking about our soul now, so it's important. If there are any dramas, just ask. We can do this 2 lessons, it doesn't matter.
We've got a lot of questions.
Okay, so is it related though? Because I want to make sure, just check the questions first if they're related to this, because I need to make sure we're through with, we're like on top of this. Now here is Steffi. Okay, so here is Steffi. That's Steffi. But remember, there's also the created being as a whole. So just like Steffi has little desires inside of her, this creature, this created being has, guess what? All of us in it as well. Right? Which brings us to all existing in a one big desire to receive together. Okay, so what I drew like this, okay, as the creature, we can also draw the creature like this too. Okay, with all of us in it. So this is, let's say, Steffi. Steffi. Who else is with us?
Jose.
Jose. Is that Abdul on the screen? Yeah, Abdul's there. Okay, is Abdul. Abdul. There we go. Who else is there? We've got Judith there. Judith is
there also.
Smiling at us. We've got Dillies. There we go. Okay, so we've got a bunch of people. Who else have we got?
We got Gary.
Gary, we've got Gary. Louise.
Carmen.
Okay, Carmen. So all of us, guys, just like Steffi as an individual has her own desires, the whole of creation called the general soul of Adam Harishon has all of us in it. This is why this structure of the soul, being Galgalta Einaim and Ahap, in everything is very important, because because Galgalta Einaim is closer to spirituality and are more bestowing, and because Ahap is more receiving, this is exactly how we're going to complete each other. Because everybody, let's say this is Dilis, and let's say this is Gary here, and this is Louise here, okay? Because everybody is going to, let's say, Gary with his vessels of bestowal going to fulfill Louise, and Louise with her vessels of bestowal going to fulfill Carmen, and Carmen, let's say this is me here, Mutlu, is going to, with her vessels of bestowal, fulfill Mutlu. And all of us are going to come together like one big jigsaw puzzle. Perfection is thus built by all of our contribution in the system. This is why the structure of the soul is important. And this is how we can bestow to everybody. Now, because the greatest pleasure in the world is, you guys tell me, what's the greatest pleasure in the world? You just make a little sign. Yes, that's what it's looking like. Okay, that's what it looks like. It's the greatest pleasure in the world. Yes, love. That's right. Okay. Now, if we have this, Kabbalists are saying, you guys are so happy that you don't really feel like receiving anything, because love obligates you to give, and giving is a much greater pleasure than receiving. Okay, because if you love someone, you guys have probably gone out and bought a Valentine's present if you were really in love. Okay, even though you're paying for the present, you're getting a lot of pleasure from it, right? You're paying, it's your money, your time, your life going by, but you're loving it. Why? Because you love the person. So even though you're making all the sacrifices, plus you're getting the other person a gift, it's a joy. So we have such examples on the planet. So the Kabbalists are saying, listen, when you've got such love between people, the greatest pleasure in the world becomes this action, of just bestowing to others. And then you bestow to that person, you can bestow to them. Okay? And this is called, what is it called? It's called connection between people. Because the Creator is, what was the Creator's attribute? Love and bestowal. This is his personality. That's his trait. Now, when we're in that action, guess what we become? All of us become just like, just like the Creator himself. And by becoming like the Creator himself through this action, you get to be in his status. Mutually giving, mutually receiving, and everybody's honky-dory. And that's called perfection. Piece of cake. So what this brings us to do, okay, what does this give us? Okay, you guys are probably thinking, yeah, but what am I getting? Right? Everybody's thinking with their stomach tonight. Well, I am anyway. So we're all thinking, what am I getting from this? Well, we're getting to be just like the Creator. When you become like the Creator, you are completely, first of all, independent from guess who? You are completely independent from this animal, because this is called the animate level of existence. Let's put some whiskers on there. There you go. Because our body belongs to the animate level. It has no spiritual essence at all. So first of all, after we attain spirituality, whatever happens to this guy, like, you know, it's going in that direction, becomes irrelevant for us. Anybody gone for a haircut lately? Yes? Okay, if you don't have any hair, don't get offended. Okay. If you go for a haircut, if you go for a shave, you don't feel any pain. Why? Because it belongs to the vegetative level. We belong to the animate level. Right? Without spirituality, we're animals. But our hairs, our nails, if you went for a nail job, they cut your nails, you don't feel any pain because it's at a lower level of existence. Remember, this is the animal and this is the vegetative. Now, if I build the speaking level or the spiritual level, same thing, do you think I'm going to feel something bad if anything happens to my body? You won't. And that's called living in eternity. Just like we don't feel pain when we lose our hair, when we cut our nails off, seemingly it's from my body, but it belongs to a lower level. So we don't feel any pain. So in the animate level of existence, if my body dies, how's that going to feel like? Anybody bought a new t-shirt lately? I take the old t-shirt out, throw it in the bin, and put on a new t-shirt. That's exactly how it feels like. Am I talking mumbo jumbo? We all good? Yes? No? Oh, come on, say you're with me. Give me a smile or something. Give me some life here. Right. Okay, great. So does that all make sense? Okay. In our body as well, we have the animate level, we have the vegetative level, and our bones are the still level. Okay. But what we don't have while we're living in this world here is we don't have our spiritual life. That's the addition we have to make. For that, we have the dot in the heart here. We need to elevate that dot in the heart into the spiritual world, and we have to do it while we live here. The good thing is, if we don't finish it, we come back. So it's all good. Okay? But Kabbalists say, it's best if you don't come back, because you just have to go through primary school again and high school. Who wants to go through all that again? Exams, A-levels, GCSEs. Oh my God.
Besides school, high school was actually like...
Oh, it's like... All right? So it's best we get it done quickly, they say. All right? Because in spirituality, there's no death. Okay? So I'm not, there's no death in spirituality. This is why this world is a dream. Okay? For us, it's a nightmare. So the Kabbalists are saying, don't live the nightmare again. I mean, let's just get this thing done and get out of here. So that's the kind of attitude we like to have, so we can move forward in life, as they say. And moving forward in life, in our time, needs to be spiritual, where we need to be conscious about what our reality is, or about what the purpose of life is, and what we need to do with ourselves before we go absolutely bonkers. That's in a nutshell how it is. Now, because the worlds are all inside of us, they're also inside the generality of that big soul called Adam Harishon. If this could just open up for the next, yeah, there we go. So, in Adam Harishon as well, this big one soul that we're all part of, there are also parts. Let me just make this a little thicker. All right, there we go. So this is the world of Asiya, Yetzirah, Biriya, Atzilut, and Adam Kadmon. All right, so we have here as well. Let's just make this black. So we have the root phase, the first, second, third, fourth phases. All right. So what we need to do is we need to participate. If a person has a dot in the heart, a real yearning for the meaning of life, why are we living? What's the purpose of our life? If a person has a real yearning for that, that person is called one who has a dot in the heart. And that dot in the heart is a bit of a drama because it's constantly pinching us. Even if our life is good, it just pinches us to ask that question, Mutlu, what are you living for? What's the meaning of your life? And this is the meaning of our life. To get to this state where all of humanity will have to get there. Okay? We'll need to attain this perfection and live in this level of existence. Now, don't ask me what's going to happen after this because I'm not there yet. All right? If I was at the end, I'll tell you what happens afterwards as well. But I'm not there yet. So, let's first get here. We'll talk about that later because I'm sure somebody's going to ask about that. Oh, but Mutlu, what's going to happen afterwards? We don't know. I don't know anyway. Okay? But the Kabbalist, Baal Islam, says there are other phases as well. So it's quite exciting, isn't it? So, as all of us, Mutlu, Carmen, Louise, Gary, Diliz, Steffi, Jose, Abdul, Judith, who else? All of us have to attain the meaning of life. It is the purpose of creation. And unfortunately, we can't get out of it if you're planning on to, okay, because just like kids have to grow up, right? Let's say I'm having the time of my life at the age of 6. I can't tell mum and dad, okay, that's it. I am not growing up to become 7 because I just love being 6. It just doesn't work out that way. So we just need to make this as fun and as pleasant as we can. And we're trying to put on a good show for you so that we can make it nice and easy. Now, you got any questions related to this?
Oh, yes. So, let's see here. Marjana asks, when we attain equivalence of form with the Creator? One second.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay. When we attain equivalence of form with the Creator, which is actually evolution of humans, is evolution finished? Let's see here. She asked that question a little while ago, and it was actually before you said,
okay,
don't say what happens next. That's why you were laughing on the screen. I saw that. Okay. So our next question comes from Gary. Can a person mimic the Creator's action of giving, but with the intention of bringing happiness to the Creator, kind of like a son impersonating his father, who is his role model, until he himself reaches adulthood?
That is a really nice question, which is exactly what I was going to touch upon. Now, we're not in the spiritual world, okay? We're not there yet, which is fine. No problemo, because we've got to start somewhere. So, because we're not in the spiritual world, we can draw ourselves in the group as, there we go, a bunch of people. Okay, because we're in our bodies, Bodies means our desire to receive, right? So when we say body in the wisdom of Kabbalah, we're really not talking at all about this bag of protein that we perceive to be us, okay? We are talking about a desire to receive pleasure. And that's what we are. We're a desire to receive pleasure on two legs, kind of like robots, okay? All day running around, me, and so on. However, all of us in the group have something very special called the dot in the heart. So everybody's got one of those, because we have a desire to attain the meaning of life. We have a desire to attain a soul, actually. Okay? Something we don't have at the moment, by the way. And when we all come together in the group and we learn this method of interaction between us, which is the wisdom of Kabbalah, then we can build these superfluous connections between us in order to start developing. Okay, I'm sure you guys have all been to Kindi. What do we do when we go to Kindi? We play around with games and so on. And growing up as a child, okay, we grow up with what? We grow up with games. Okay, games are very important in nature. All animals, they grow up with games. If you watch National Geographic, you'll see that lions and tigers, all the cubs and babies, they're all playing games. Because if they don't play those games, they can never be an adult. And they can never go hunting. So they need to play the game. And this is exactly how we grow up as well. So in the group, what we do is play a game called, what is it called? The name of the game is, let's get spiritual. Okay, that's the name of the game. How are we going to do that? We're going to learn how to do that. So don't panic, okay? Don't panic. We're going to learn how to do that. It's quite easy. But this little laboratory that we're going to build together is really scientific, actually. Although I sometimes, joke about it like it's kindergarten and so on, but it's really scientific. Because spirituality means self-discovery. It means I am discovering all the traits that I have in me, all my qualities, all my little details which I had never seen or noticed before. So the laboratory, this group called laboratory, is a perfect environment where I can begin to decipher how my nature and the generality of nature, which is the creator outside, which is that love and bestowal, and how me are in contradiction. And because of that contradiction, I have all the problems in life. Okay, somebody was asking, did anybody ask about why I've got problems in life? Yes. If you ever wondered why you have problems in life, it's because we are not compatible to the laws of nature. In order for us to make ourselves compatible to the laws of nature, we have to understand what our nature is. And that's the whole idea of the group. As you know by now already, okay, the Creator is not going to pop out of the sky and he's not going to be revealed like that. No, it's this trait that we have to build amongst us. In order for us to build that, we need to discover, first of all, what I am, and counter to that, I'm going to have to build the Creator, because that's going to be exactly the opposite of what I've discovered about me. Because perception of reality forces us to always perceive things from two opposite ends. If I discover myself, I actually get the ability to build an opposite state, which becomes the feeling of the Creator inside me. That's not quantum physics, by the way. It's logical. It is 1 plus 1 plus 1. Okay, it's really logical. If I have, let's say I feel the water as cold, what am I going to do? I'm just going to add some warm water into it, right? Why? Because I know cold, opposite of cold is hot. Right? So spirituality is like the opposite of our quality, and our quality is a desire to receive for ourselves. So if I discover exactly where I'm egoistic according to a certain behavior I have, all I have to do is just flip it over, make the psychological transition, and then I've got what? Equivalence of form. It's like heat. It's like heat, transmitting heat between my hand and the water. Right? What happens? The water, at the end of the day, and my hand have to come to an equivalence of heat, because there's heat transfusion between them. Yeah? It's same thing. So if I discover myself, actually, I have the ability to build spirituality on top of that, which actually makes us build spirituality completely independently with our own effort, which will make us equal to the Creator. That way, what do I delete? What do I nullify? I nullify the shame. I don't feel like I got it from the Creator. I feel like I did the work. So by that, you have just deleted shame, my friends. And what does that feel like? That feels like being able to look somebody straight in the eye with your achievements and saying, yes.
Michael here he wrote a general statement and a question. He says, I really enjoy the sessions, and I've followed every one of them for more than 4 months, but I feel that I've undergone a shift in how I feel and my perspective on things. But if someone had to ask me what I've learned, I wouldn't be able to tell them. Is that normal when one learns Kabbalah?
That's absolutely normal. I still sometimes have no idea what I'm talking about.
Now,
don't worry about it.
Abdul says, what we see outside of us are projections of who and what we are. The spoken words we hear from other existence, are those also our projections?
Everything is our projection. Everything, I see the whole of reality from my own personality, from my own traits, from my own character. This is why reality is so unique. This is why you can't have people seeing the same thing and feeling the same thing. It's just not possible. This is why there are so many conflicts between everyone. We just don't know how to bring them to this, how can I say, we don't know how to bring our disagreements into completing each other. And this is the whole reason. This is the whole idea the whole idea of having conflicts with everyone in the world and seeing everything differently, thinking differently, feeling differently, is just so that we can all complement each other instead of trying to convince each other that I'm right. Okay, we're all supposed to complement each other, and through that complementing process, what then everybody feels and sees is perfection. And this is our general problem in the world, because instead of trying to complement each other, we're trying to convince everybody that we're right and they're wrong.
Now, Marjana is asking, he gave us ego, the Creator,
Yes.
a will to receive,
Yes.
and now he wants to take away our ego? Is that correct?
No.
She says,
no.
why?
No, we don't get... No. No. Okay, that's a good question. The ego he created with the desire to receive. The desire to receive is a desire to receive pleasure And that's perfectly fine. We're not going to touch that. The only thing we're wanting to flip is the intention to use our desires for our personal benefit. And the reason we want to flip that is because it causes harm to everybody else. It causes harm to the whole world, actually. But the ego, even though I want to flip it, change it, and turn it into another attribute, the opposite attribute, is not destroyed. I don't want to destroy it. It's something unique. And the reason I don't want to destroy it is because of that, I can actually build the opposite state. So if I wanted to destroy my ego, I would never actually go higher in spirituality. A lot of Eastern methods, they like to diminish the ego. They like to bring it down. We don't do that because we're going to use the ego. The greater the ego, the better, because then I have the greater the ability to cover that ego with a higher level of love. If I have a small ego, I have small love. If I have a big ego, I have to cover that huge ego with a huge love. So the bigger the ego gives a person, the greater the ability to love.
Now, Jose's asking how to change the shame and begin to love.
Well, that's the end of the process, mate. But you know, I took everything from the beginning to the end, okay? And as I took it to the end, as you will recall from Gary's question and how I answered it, we're going to have to, sooner or later, we will, once we finish the education center lessons, is we're all going to end up here somewhere called the group. Okay. Where's Jose from?
Jose,
where are you from? From where?
It doesn't say where Jose's from.
Okay, Jose, write to us where you're from. So once we're in the group, we have the ability and the opportunity to start to play around with this concept. By the way, talking about groups and talking about opportunities to play this thing, on the 27th of January, okay, on the 27th of January, there is something happening. And I have forgotten what is happening, so I'll just have to check my email. But something is happening.
Jose's from Spain.
There is information in the chat already.
Okay, you got. Okay, sorry. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
she posted some chat. There's a gathering coming up.
Okay, now on the 27th, there is a gathering, which is a Saturday. So that you're more than welcome to come. You're more than welcome to join in, hop by wherever. It's in the UK. It's in London, I reckon, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's in London. So if you're in the UK, if you're in London, if you're close by, you can pop by and you know, get together with the guys there. So click on the link on the chat afterwards, or make a note of that link. Copy that link somewhere so you don't lose it. And if you want to come and join the team there, huh? Yes, link by chat. Okay, it's a bit chat. Okay, so you can get a first-hand taste of it. Now, if you're not in the UK, if you're not in London, or if you're not close by and you can't make it, don't worry about it. What we're going to do is, after we finish these lessons in the second semester, we're going to move on to the third semester, where we learn how to do this at least at the virtual level. Okay, we're going to learn how to start doing this at the virtual level. So we have another 4 lessons left. This was our 6th. So we've got 7, 8, 9, 10. 4 more lessons left. And then we're going to move on to this third semester called the young group. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start working on this connection between us. Connection between us, at least at a virtual reality level, and then we'll start to move on. And then afterwards, hopefully there'll be a group near you which you can stick your head into, and then you can carry on, because the education center lessons are going to be over, and then we can bring you into our whole world global group, and then you can, study with the group that's closest to you. And it's 10:07 here, so we're about 7.5 minutes overdue. Any last questions or anything there you want to?
Steffi from Romania is asking, what can I give the Creator?
What you can give your friends is what you can give the Creator.
Felix from Abuja is asking, how can he attend the Congress in February?
Oh, my goodness, Felix. If you are Felix, from where?
Abuja.
Abuja. Okay, Felix.
That's in Nigeria?
What you have to do is you have to register. You have to register, buy a plane ticket, book it, and pop over. There should be a link on the website. By the way, if there is anybody who's interested in coming to our Congress in February in Israel, it's on the 20th, 21st, and the 22nd of February. If you feel like popping over, if you've got time, there you should go to Kabbalah.info. Let's just do this. So go to www.kabbalah.info, and from there should be a link to the Congress. Okay, I don't know where it is. I already registered, so if you feel like it, it's on the 20, 21st, 22nd of Feb. You can register, you can pop by, and come and meet the gang, as they say.
And one last question. Claire asked, so someone with a massive self-involved desire to take from everyone else is actually ahead of someone who is wanting to bestow but doesn't know how?
I'm not sure I understand the question, but it's like this. I think you're referring to my example with lowering the ego. Okay, is that right? It's like this. If I have a big ego, okay, if I have a huge ego, and I have a desire, and I have a dot in the heart with that ego.
She said from the 4 stages.
From the 4 stages. Right. From here, right? So this is my huge desire to receive. And I reveal the ego at this level here. This is why I felt the shame. Okay? If I hadn't felt that, I wouldn't move forward. So we need the ego in order to move on to the next level. Look, animals have a small ego. Plants have even less. The still level have even less. They can't move higher than where they're at. What makes us special, the speaking level, is this. Although we are living as animals in our bodies, we have something from the spiritual in us called the dot in the heart. Now that's the speaking inside of us. Okay? What we're going to discover later is that all of the ego relates to that point and not our animalistic level. Because our animalistic level is like a little kid in kindergarten, Oh, I want money. It's like I want lollipops. It's the same thing. The real ego is when I see the Creator and I see what I can grab from Him. That's called ego. Everything else in our animate lives is just drop in the ocean. But it's a good starting point. This is why we have it. We have a worldly ego, which we studied in the first semester. We need to have that because it's like kindergarten preparing us for primary school. But no ego, You can't do nothing. This is why in Eastern philosophies, they're just, you know, when you suppress your ego, you're just, okay, you're feeling comfortable. You're feeling comfortable. It's a good feeling. But, you know, a tree also has a good feeling in the forest. A stone can also feel tranquil. It's besides the point. It doesn't take you to the next level. This is why at the speaking level, the human level, the big ego on the one hand is giving you a lot of drama, pain, suffering, like, you know, stress. But on the other hand, on top of that, you get the huge attainment. You get to attain the Creator. With all the other levels, you can't. So there are methods that like lower your ego and they make you feel good in this life, but you won't attain the purpose of life doing that. Because you need to be in two opposite ends. It's like plus infinity and minus infinity. So the greater that is, the greater the attainment you have. That's why whoever has a bigger ego has more success in life. Simple. All right, I am 14 minutes overdue and the moderators will kill me if I do not end the lesson. You guys have a great week already and a lovely weekend. And next Tuesday we'll be on lesson 7. Take care of yourselves. Think about what we learned today. All the best.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.